Today we're going to talk about two charts of Bitcoin, which in my opinion very interesting at this point of time. And actually a lot of people already talked about this in the social media and on YouTube, on Twitter, but still I think it's interesting to share that so more people will know about it. And like in the combination of those two, I think it's interesting to look at. So first, I would like to show you the chart of the mining rewards profitability of Bitcoin. This is the blue line here, and the red line is the price of Bitcoin. And an interesting thing here is that as opposed to the price, there is an interesting correlation with mining rewards profitability here. So namely, I pointed out the tops of that with the green arrows and the bottoms of that with red arrows. So you can see here that the top, for example, in February 2011 is absolutely at the same level as the bottom, which was in November 2011. So one cycle later. Basically, this was the top, this was the next bottom, then one top later, and then bottom later. So bottom after the top, which happens after the top before. And then again, this top was at the same point as the bottom of the next cycle. This top was at the same level as the bottom of the next cycle. And now we have this top, which was in November 13th, is exactly at the same level, which was in December 2018, when our price was, well, presumably at the bottom of the whole cycle of the market right now. So it's absolutely amazing to see this coincidence or correlation, whatever you think of that. But in principle, one may think about the rewards profitability as a better or more reasonable fundamental measure for the Bitcoin comparing to the price. And yeah, for the price, we don't have such a correlation, but with this profitability, we have that. And another point to take from that is, although we don't know where the next top will be, like here or whatever, but we may at least use this previous top as a reference point for the bear market, which will happen after the next top. So when we will see the decline of the price, like after $100,000, then it will go lower, and we may use this level of the rewards profitability as the level where the price will probably stop. So of course, not necessarily the history will repeat itself or even rhyme here, but very interesting to observe that. Another interesting piece of data is from Thomas Lee, which is a co-founder of Fundstrat Global, and you know that he made a lot of the bold statements about Bitcoin price in 2018 will be like $50,000 in the end, $15,000 in the end, but didn't work. So one may actually take his predictions or at least statements about the price of Bitcoin with a grain of salt, although I tend to think he is a very thoughtful and experienced and skilled professional in the field. So what he's basically saying is they calculated so-called the Bitcoin misery index, and in fact there's not so much data of that index, like how does it calculate it. I think they don't open this fully, and it's open only for their clients of Fundstrat Global, but it seems like it is used, of course, the momentum of Bitcoin price and the trading activity, and also it incorporates the percentage of winning trades to total trades. So basically what we have is that when people are trading Bitcoin and then they have a lot of the profits, so like they buy low and sell high, then this index is also high, so people are happy. But otherwise, if they like bought at higher level and they had to sell later at the lower level, then they're not happy, and this index is low as well. So two things which is stated by Thomas Lee is that first, on April 2nd, we actually hit a very high level of this misery index. It was 89, and every time we had this misery index so high, basically the market was in the bull stage. And he pointed out that with another chart, so here we had quite high index value here as well. At the local highs of the bull market we always had it, and we didn't have it on the bear market. So it's very promising. But another thing which he pointed out, that usually when we have this level of the index, after that the price had a huge correction, like 25% or something like that. So be careful about the next few weeks or maybe even days, because yeah, price may correct. And indeed, if you'll check those values, then you would see that this index was high here, 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 every time when we had it, the price went lower, and actually those higher points of the local highs of this bull market as well. So now we have it here too. And yeah, if you remember, like the fact that now we are above the Bollinger Bands on the weekly time frame and many other factors which are suggesting that we need to go lower, then it's pretty much reasonable. But the thing which is interesting here is that actually these 2 points, when we had this misery index very high, we actually had sort of a 2-step behavior of this index. So it was very high here, but then it was like a minor correction, some sideways price action, and well, of course it's not a price, but like the correlation with this were basically similar with the price. And then we had even higher value of this index, so the price went even higher than before. And the same here. So if you can see that higher point, go lower, and even higher value later. So one may expect that similar thing may happen here. We actually went to the high value and then made a small correction, and we can make like a few more points around here and then make even higher point of this misery index. So when this will happen, then one of those levels which we discussed before, like 6,000, 6,400, or even more than $7,000 is really likely to be reached. And then after that, we may see significant correction as like that. So this is like a portion of hopium based on that index, but in general, main takeaway here is that regardless of the local behavior of the price based on these metrics, we may see the continuation of at least like bullish behavior in the long term, and this is really nice. So let's see how the Bitcoin price action going basically sideways these days will evolve, and so far I hope to see you in the next updates. Thank you for watching.